That's how quiet it was.
Really?
And when it hit 45 seconds, it hit with vengeance. 45 seconds, all the fucking wind come through, metal flying, everything.
So you're telling me that you got a telephone call in less than a minute,
But within 3 minutes from the tornado.
within 3 minutes before the tornado actually hit, your son called and you went into a secure area, which was the fish house at that time.
Yeah, it's a brick building.
And less than a minute,
It hit.
it hit.
Yeah, and my son, if he wouldn't call me, I'd be dead.
That close.
Yeah.
That close. That close.
Yeah, that's how quick it was. I mean, that's how far.
Because it leveled everything on the other side of that fish house.
I had an ant.
It leveled everything on the other side of that fish house. It just took that whole
My house
freaking
was
community
gone.
out.
My house was gone. And my aunt lived in a trailer by the ballpark,
Yeah.
and they had to pick her up. They had to get a trailer wrapped around her in a tree, and the metal just went around her. They had to cut her out. The fire department did. Cut her out of the metal of the trailer she lived in.
Why didn't it squeeze her up in there and kill
I
her?
don't know, the Lord was on her side.
Had to have been God, huh?
The Lord was on her side.
Had to have been. Because you telling me that...
Her son was living in the trailer, and he said, last thing he remembered, he said he could feel the trailer shaking, and they was on the ground, they was on the bottom of the trailer. He said he could feel the trailer come up. When they got him, the cable wire going to the house and the phone line had wrapped around him, and they picked him up out of the tree. I mean, that's what stopped him from going off. He walked around like he was about dead for about 2 days, 3, but both of them lived through it. And
But the only thing that saved him was the power line. He got caught up in the power lines.
And the phone. It wrapped it wrapped around him, and he was tied up in a tree about 6 foot off the ground.
Good grief.
I mean, that's the only thing got him saved.
If it wasn't for that, it'd have went ahead and sucked him on. Ain't no telling where. They'd have found his body a couple hundred yards away or something.
Well, they found papers from here, from all the way to Arkansas. When when the tornado was over, they was finding pictures from Arkansas here.
I'm gonna tell you, whenever I was growing up in this area, I've been living here since 1967. I ain't originally from here. I'm born up north, but we can't help where you're born. But
they called them, when I was a kid, they called us damn Yankees.
Yeah.
Because I moved to Illinois one time.
Yeah. But anyways, there's always been storms, and the storms was usually predictable that they would always be somewhere between April and May. But since the weather has gotten freaky, it's liable to be 82 degrees or whatever in the middle of winter, and a freaking tornado have an outbreak of tornadoes.
December 10th when that tornado hit. That one hit Sandburg.
Yeah.
December 10th.
I wonder how.
It was almost 74 degrees the day it hit.
See, I can remember down there at Jackson, Tennessee, it was one hit right before 2000 and one hit after 2000. I think the one after 2000, I'm pretty sure it was, we was already living in Lexington, over towards Lexington, Tennessee on Juneau Bargaining Road off Highway 104, exit 104. And that tornado touched down at the airport in Jackson and stayed on the ground all the way going to Lexington and did not stop until it got way on the other side of Lexington. They said it stayed on the ground for 67 miles.
I know it demolished the federal courthouse in Jackson, because I remember seeing pictures of federal courthouse with all the windows gone. That's downtown Jackson.
That's downtown.
Right downtown.
That's where the courthouse. That's where the your county courthouse and everything is right there.
Then they got,
A matter of fact, if you going into Jackson on the 4-lane, you'll go up a hill and then a long curve right there before you start heading towards Bemis.
Yeah.
Okay. There was I think it was an Italian restaurant. You got to turn around and go back towards the other way, but there was an Italian restaurant basically sitting right there where the roads come together like that. And everything in that freaking restaurant was total gone. Wasn't nothing but the concrete. But there was a table, 2 chairs, everything still on the table, including the paper holder that had
the napkins.
The napkin holder still had the napkins in it. Now how can that be?
I know everything.
How can that? Everything else is gone. Everything is gone except that one table. and it really looks so odd. It actually made the paper.
Huh. I ain't never seen the picture, but
I mean, that was odd because the forks, the knives, everything was setting just like you was fixing to set somebody there, and even the napkins was still in the napkin holder. How can that do that? And everything else is gone.
The rest of the place is haunted. I understand that.
It's got to be something supernatural. You know what?
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. I'm kind of like you.
Yeah, it's got to be something supernatural. You know what I'm waiting on? You may think I'm crazy, but I bet it'll happen before my death. If I live a natural, good life, I'm waiting on somebody to get caught up in a tornado and have enough sense about them to grab up their phone, because just about everybody and their brother's got a phone now, and hit the record button, and while they're up there swirling around, seeing cows and combines flying around up in the center of a tornado, filming it. Filming it.
Yeah, the Twister movie come out this weekend, and Tippville just reopened the theater. It was built in 1912. It holds 200 people, and it was plumb full.
What was it again?
The new Twister movie.
Oh, okay.
It come out this weekend, and they first time they ever sold out. It holds 200. The seats is from 1912. I talked to a woman who went there. She said the seats are so hard.
So they had a capital. They had a capital that they just now opened back up here in Tiptonville.
If you go downtown by the courthouse,
yeah,
it'd be right across the road from the courthouse.
Wow.
I mean, they just reopened. It ain't been open.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know they come out with. Was it a Twister too? Is that what it is?
It's a brand new Twister movie.
Oh, really?
And it just come out this weekend.
I didn't know that.
And they got it, and they sold out. First time I ever went down there. I went down there Friday. I left here Friday night. It was getting dark. Just getting dark good. And I went through there, and there was more cars parked in Tiptonville. I'd never seen that many cars, but they was all for that movie. They said it
almost looked like a political event.
Yeah, they sold out. It was 200 people in it. I asked somebody who worked there.
I got a question for you. And this is probably going to be a stupid question, but I don't remember. Did they build that, whatever you call it, right there and stop purposely, or was there a road that actually went further on out?
What, the levee?
No, those beams and that concrete right there.
They built that. That's water. That's a water shut off to keep water from flooding the other side. Or when water's over there, they can cut. It's a shut off gate. If you hit the levee up here and go to your right on the levee, you'll go about half to 3/4 mile down, and there'll be another one just like that.
I've seen it.
Okay, it's water.
So it goes in one end and comes out the other. Is that what you're saying? Or they can transport it the other way, where it goes in the other way and comes out here?
See, when the water gets up, I've seen water.
It's a way of being able to control the water. It's probably Corps of Engineers. Corps of Engineers probably the one.
Other side of the levee.
Yeah, Corps of Engineers is probably the only people that has access to that.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
They are the ones that reach the water. You know, they got a gauge here that tells you the water level.
Okay.
I seen where we're parked right here. I seen water over top this truck.
Oh yeah, I have too.
I mean,
I've seen water where you couldn't even get over the levee right there. You couldn't drive out here. Yeah, you couldn't drive out here.
That's what they do that to keep the levee from buck. See, when I was a kid, we lived down Morin. That's just 5 miles that way.
I got you.
But when you go over
Morin. That's where the Mississippi opened up right there, and it cut a trail all the way into Reelfoot right there. That's where all that water come from right through there.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong about that?
When you go around the curve, it's right down yonder.
I mean, yeah.
But when you go over this levee right here,
did the ground open up? Is that what happened right there?
Water just went back and washed it out, and like I said,
and it come out basically at the washout down there.
Oh yes, is that, don't you?
Yeah.
You're not washed out right there.
Yeah.
That's where the Mississippi River went backwards and filled Riffle Lake. So some places in that water is 90 foot deep. I mean, it's 90 foot deep in that little spot.
In
the washout.
In the washout.
Yeah. I mean, it's
wow.
like a blue hole.
Wow.
But when you cross this levee right here, if you look off to your right, you'll see where the ground in 1980 or 1979, 1980, the Mississippi River got so the levee got so weak right there on this curve, they had to reinforce the other side. They got like 5 foot build up over. You just see where the ground goes up.
Well, I know back this way. It was on the other side of Bessie been over there at Hickman, Kentucky, that they almost lost Hickman.
Yeah, they had the gates up and everything. It was like
No, I'm talking about the wash. Kept washing and washing, and there was buildings fixing to fall into the Mississippi River, and the Corps of Engineers had to go down there and spend I don't know how many millions of dollars towards building all that back up and putting in big rocks and them big nets.
Well, they got
and all that
wall now, and then a concrete wall. They got.
Well, yeah, they've had that for years, though.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about flooding. I'm talking about wash. The washout almost caused Hickman, Kentucky, to wash away,
To fall in the river.
fall in the river. Now they claim, I don't know if you've ever heard it or not, but they claim there is a underground cavern or tavern, whatever you call it, somewhere around Hickman, and there's been divers that's went into it underground and went like 2 or 3 miles, but they said that there ain't no telling where that goes.
I know they got that big. Like on the. Like,
So there's all
kind.
what I'm getting at. There's all kinds of,
The cliff,
yeah.
that big cliff. That's right there. The fire department's from here to that truck, from that cliff.
Yeah,
And I remember when.
and they got a park right up there too.
Yeah,
They was fixing to lose the park.
yeah. Their houses, the road done disappeared into the house from me to you.
Yeah.
From the cliff.
Yeah.
They dimmed that.
They was fixing to lose it because of the wash.
Yeah.
They claim every time you go up and down the Mississippi, you never go down the same river.
I know it's changing good. It's like,
It changes every day.
Yeah.
It either gets wider, or it fills in places it wasn't filled in, or it takes out places it never was taken out. I mean that river.
Sand gives in a heartbeat. Sandbar will give in a heartbeat, and whatever's under it just slides with it.
That river basically is the lifeline of America, and I don't know if you know this or not, but basically whenever the White House burnt, original White House,
In 18,
uh
1780.
no, yeah, somewhere around in there.
1777. It was right after the.
Anyways, just north from here, and I forgot the name of the park, but there's a town in Kentucky where they'd already made up blueprints and was fixing to move the White House right next to the Mississippi River up in Kentucky. Is that it?
Yeah, so it's right before you get.
I mean, they
right
got the
past Hickman,
right past Hickman.
before you get to Cairo.
Yeah, before you get to Cairo, they already had the blueprints and everything. A lot of people don't know that. They already had the blueprints and everything written out, and they was fixing to start building a capitol. That was where the next capitol, the White House, was going to be. I don't know what possessed them to do that, other than the fact that at that time, the Mississippi River was probably the main vein pertaining to bringing commerce in and out of here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Hey, that's Mississippi River.
One of the main veins.
That and trains. And trains, they didn't really get trains didn't get going until 1850s and 1860s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when they built tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 1862, 1863.
Do you think the Civil War was all about slavery?
Not only that, just control. People from the South didn't want to be controlled by other people. They didn't want you. I don't want to tell you what you got to do, but I will. You know, and people got tired of it.
State rights. State rights.
Yeah, just rights. You know.
State rights. And the fact that basically that we was going through a lot of turmoil still out west with the Indians and stuff, trying to settle the territory out there, and it was just a whole lot of commotion going on, and I think basically what happened was it started in the White House towards basically an argument. It went from an argument to a free-for-all, and it went from a free-for-all to an all-out and out freaking battle, and the next thing you know, war broke out.
Yeah.
War broke out.
13 states went against the rest of the United. And you know what? There's battle right here, right up here.
And Lincoln, and yeah, I know where that I know where that place is, but Lincoln declared martial law on his own people. That later Congress said was unconstitutional.
But see, about that right there, Kentucky was supposed to be a neutral state. Kentucky, every state in the Union and every state, you know, Confederate state, but Kentucky wouldn't pick sides because they was right in the middle. So they were like a neutral. But there was more battles in Kentucky than you believe. Because I was going to pick up some fish one time in Kentucky, and you know how them signs on the side of the road are? history sign?
Well, something must have been going on in Kentucky, because Kentucky was the only one that built that monument that went straight up. What was it? Something like 200 feet, pertaining to the only Southern president that the United States has ever had. You know what I'm talking about over there? That big memorial over there? Yeah.
But
It was basically the only Southern president, Confederate president, that they honored, because that's where he was originally from, up there. I forgot the town up there, but they built a heck of a freaking monument, man.
the only one
Goes-
I ever knew was Thomas Jefferson was Tennessee. He was a president from Tennessee, and that was before the Civil War.
The Civil War, during the Civil War, there was a president.
Okay, well, Lincoln got assassinated, so I don't know who took his place.
Lincoln didn't get assassinated because he freed the slaves.
No, he got assassinated. No,
You know why he got assassinated?
bandit.
You know why he got assassinated? Because he gave the black man the same rights as the white man,
Yeah.
the right to go vote. And whenever that occurred, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Why you think about him shooting at Trump?
I know it. Well,
Hey,
I voted for Trump last time.
hey,
You know,
that Biden just pulled his hat out of the ring, don't you?
I knew it was going to happen because too many people was against him.
He
I
just
heard this morning on
he
news.
just done it. He just done it about 3 hours ago.
See, I didn't know. I ain't heard.
He
it.
made an announcement. He's no longer running. The candidate now is going to be that woman.
Vice presidents. That's what I heard. I heard yesterday. That's probably what happened. But
And believe it or not, because so many foreign entities has come to America, and so many of them over here has basically got messed up. As far as I'm concerned, they got messed up morals. And of course, the Democrats has been all for the LGBTQ community and the gay community and every other kind of community out there. In which, hey, don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to knock them people, because they can do whatever they want to do. But I'm telling you right now, with her being a female, and those type of people that was already leaning towards being a for the Democrat Party, she's got a strong chance of possibly pulling that off. Did you know that?
Biden, the Democrats want somebody in there that they can control.
It ain't the same Democrat Party what it was back years ago, whenever the state of Tennessee was all Democrat. You remember back whenever we was growing up as kids, state of Tennessee was Democrat state.
Now more Republicans, but
It's all now red.
Trump didn't treat the nation like
Trump was
he treated it like a business.
Trump was unexperienced, number one. Trump had not been bought into like all the other politicians, which was a good thing, I thought. And Trump let his mouth exceed over his thinking, and he should have thought it through before he ever spoke out the way that he did. But that was that unprofessionalism in him towards speaking out the way that he did. I guarantee you, since he come that close to death, a person that comes that close to death, they'll have a different perspective on things.
First thing he done when he got up, he held his hand up, fight.
And the crowd rooted him on whenever he done that. Did you see how the crowd reacted?
Yeah.
The crowd didn't scatter. They didn't go in 15,000 different ways. They stood up with him, started saying, yeah, fight.
I know it.
Even though that woman had blood all over and that man got killed, that was awful. But they're starting to pinpoint all that stuff, and they're starting to say that it could have possibly been an inside job pretending that shooter. And think about this: is it really going to look good right now with Biden pulling out? It's almost like a guilt trip, like maybe he had something to do with that assassination plot, and he's pulling out because he's afraid they liable to catch on to him.
No, he pulled out.
But I'm just saying what the people could see, what the people, how people like to add stuff.
He got lost there speaking about shit that it wasn't even part of the debate, and his mind went blank.
He's senile.
There it is.
He's becoming senile.
Hell, he's 80-something years
He
old.
can't keep the same train of thought. And believe it or not, I've heard this before, and you can take it for what it's worth. But they claim every human being on the planet, including us, will go through a temporary state of insanity almost every day. And how many times have you laid something down and oh, where did I lay that? We used to make fun of my dad because my dad, he would be screaming and hollering, "You anybody see my glasses? Anybody see my?" And it was on top of his head, or he'd go to screaming and hollering, "Have you seen that 9/16 wrench? You see?" And it was in his hand. Yeah, we used to make fun of him all the time, but believe it or not, everybody has a tendency of basically temporary insanity towards basically losing their frame of thought. But it just so happens that Biden does it more so, and he does it in front of the camera, and because of it, people notice it more.
Yeah. I wouldn't want a camera to be on me 24/7 either. Because I'm a nut anyway. Like I said.
I mean, are you a certified nut? Are you a certified nut? You got papers to prove that you're authentically insane?
I ain't certified. I don't draw a check. But in my mind, I don't get crazy, but I have crazy thoughts sometimes.
Well, you know, our United States military, they want people to join up in the military that's crazy, but they don't want them to be too crazy to the point that they can still control them.
Yeah, they want to brainwash them.
To where that they can still control them. In other words, that they want them to be bold enough to stand out on the front line during a combat zone and basically take a chance on getting their freaking head blown off, or take a chance on getting in an airplane and doing whatever. So they want you to be a little bit crazy whenever you're in the military. They just don't want you to be all the way crazy.
They always want you. The Marine Corps says, kill before be killed. You know, either way, one of us going away in a bag. Well,
they're trying to degrade the SWAT team there that basically works for Secret Service.
Oh, they fired that one, killed that boy. I heard on the news the guy that shot Trump. First thing they done was fired him. You know that sniper that killed the boy that shot at Trump?
Yeah.
Well, he done got fired from his job.
Why?
For doing his job. I mean.
Well, think about this for a second. Whenever you take on responsibility like that, and you're looking through a scope at about 200 yards, and you know as well as I do that they can make artificial guns make them look identical. Yeah. You have a responsibility as a human being, because if you was to shoot somebody and they only had a BB gun, or they had a fake gun, and basically they was just up there basically trying to attract attention to themselves, and you shot that freaking person, guess what's fixing to happen to you? You fixing to go to jail for murder. That's what's going to happen to you. So he had to make sure that he was sure that the president's life was in imminent danger.
After the 3 shots, he did know.
After them 3 shots, he knew. Because at that point in time, there wasn't no guessing about it.
The cop was on top of the building. He fell. You know, he confronted a guy. He fell. And when he fell, that's when that guy started shooting at Trump. That's what the news, you know what you hear. But
you see all kinds of different camera angles because people had their cameras going, hollering and screaming, there's a shooter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's going to be heads that's going to roll out of it, I guarantee you. And instead of having something like 26 agents there, they should have had more like 60 or 80. And they claimed the reason why that they didn't have that many was because they was understaffed and basically didn't have the funds, or they wasn't giving them the funds. Come to find out, whenever Donald Trump got all those stupid felonies from up there in New York, which all that was just a vengeance. That was just a vengeance thing that happened up there. Whenever he got all those felonies, they actually wanted to pull Secret Service plumb away from him, pull the detail plumb away from him. But instead of pulling it away from him, they downsized it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They downsized his detail. Well, now since that shooter done what he done, they have enlarged it, and where he lives up there in Florida right now, my God, they've shutting off streets, and they've got all kinds of freaking radar equipment. They've added another.
Yeah, I watched on news where he.
Well, who was it that made that decision that first of all they was going to take all the Secret Service? Because if you really get to looking at it, the way that the police officers are trained here in America, they're trained to basically hate a felony. Anybody that's got a felony, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it's a justified felony or if it's an unjustified felony. The way a police officer looks at it, you got a felony, and because of it, as far as I'm concerned, You're scum.
Yeah, you ain't even legal to vote,
You're scum.
and you can't get a government house.
No, you can't. You can legally vote now if you got a felony.
But you have to buy your rights back.
No, you don't really have to buy them back. All you got to do is apply for them, and by law, they have to give you your rights.
See, I didn't know this.
Yes, sir.
I know a guy that was in prison for a felony, and he had to buy his rights back.
You got to buy your rights back to be able to have it expunged. That way, you can go out here and buy a gun
Oh, okay.
and do it legally. But as far as voting, you can vote and be a felon now. Now, they just recently changed that. It hadn't always been that way. That got changed probably about 20 years ago. But you know good and well that by tainting Donald Trump that way, basically branded him. It marked him towards him being a felon. I don't know how many felons was it? Something like 26 or 30 something felons or something like that.
But everything,
So that in and of itself was putting him on a different level of basically people not really caring about protecting the prior president. You see what I'm saying?
that's crazy.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they had it in for him. They had it in for him the whole time. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had it in for him. And they wasn't just trying to punish him, they was actually trying to ruin him.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. They wanted to make him where he couldn't run for president too.
They were trying to ruin him.
And look at him.
And then all of a sudden a kid takes a pot shot at him, and did you notice that federal judge in 2 or 3 other of those lawsuits, they dropped them automatically. Gone.
Yeah, I seen.
Gone.
A whole lot of stuff.
Gone. You know why? Because people are realizing, you know what? The old man must have something going his favor, because ordinarily somebody gonna take a 150-yard shot like that. If that boy was
4 inches more.
the thickness of a hair, a centimeter, could have made all the difference in basically clipping his ear versus hitting that noggin.
Yep. Like I told my son, I said, look here, a bullet ain't got no name. It's just whoever.
Well, you know, I think they'll memorialize Trump in a way towards idolizing him now, like they did Ronald Reagan. But Ronald Reagan, that's basically what gave him his free ticket to run another 4 years and become president, was because he took on a shot from Hinckley, and from then on, everybody put Ronald Reagan in a category of basically being a hero.
I work with a guy in Nashville that was in the military when Ronald Reagan got shot, and he said when he got shot, the day he got shot, our military went to red. He said they locked them down in a tunnel. I mean,
They will.
They closed the tunnel.
They will,
had
because
them locked in.
they got to figure out if this is a freak thing towards a lone wolfer, or if it's actually a country coming from a country. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were saying this morning that North Korea knowingly has put out a hit towards I think Donald Trump, if I'm not mistaken.
Get over here, Bandit. Let's go. He won't buy. His name's Bandit. Get over here. I might get these dogs on the road. There's too many people showing up.
So, you know, I guess the question is this: are we going to be better off with Harrison or
Man,
Biden?
it's the same thing. Same thing. Same person. It's just down. You ain't getting top shelf. You're getting second.
I think from a Democrat perspective, I think that they'll have a better edge because of the gender.
Yeah, and plus the vice president they're gonna have.
But they'll have to choose now another running mate for the vice president. I don't know who that's going to be.
That's who I said. That's what I just said. The one's gonna run with her. Like,
And it could be
Trump.
Obama, and it could be Hillary. Who knows?
I don't know. Hillary don't.
Just because them people get out of the race don't mean that they're
Hillary
completely
don't
out of the
need-
race. You hear me?
She don't need.
Just because them people get out of the race don't mean that they're completely out of the race.
Hillary's been.
It could be another female,
Yeah. Either way you look at it.
or it could be a male. But I'm telling you right now, from a Democrat perspective, with her being a gender towards being a female, that in and of itself will be a step above Biden. That will be a step above Biden. And basically, Biden was already losing all his sponsors.
Yeah. When he, yeah.
The money done already
I seen on Facebook where he was asking for donations.
the money,
Just, you know,
the money,
$15. They just wanted you to send $15.
the money done
If
already
you
tightened
average
up.
If 1 million people send them $15, and you know there's what 2.5, 3 million people in the United States.
No. Million? There's like 300 and something million people,
Okay,
almost
300
400 million people.
Okay, 400 million people in the United States. Just say a million of them give
Yeah.
1,500. That's $15 million worth of advertisement.
If just everybody just only gave $1, that would be $400 million.
Yeah, amen.
Just $1. $1.
That's it.
But now they're granted a certain amount of money whenever they put their hat in the ring that automatically comes from the government to help them finance their campaign.
Yeah.
I don't forget now how many millions of dollars it is, but it's lots of money. It's big money. You're talking about big money whenever you get up there on that kind of total boat. I think they're granted something like $25 million or something like that right off the top.
But that ain't no advertisement, really.
Right off the top, though.
You average every commercial they give.
Oh,
60-second commercials.
They'll average $200 million just to be able to run for president and get it.
Yeah.
And that don't
they
make
get
no
pay.
sense.
I mean,
That don't make no sense because there ain't no way you can get back all that money.
well, see, Trump when he was president in 4 years, he never got a check. He always donated his to charities,
He sure did.
churches, hospitals.
He sure did.
Every check he got, he donated to.
He sure did.
Every month, it was donated to a different charity.
I personally, this is my personal opinion about it because it seems like me and you can talk without being mad at each other. We can be adults about it. I personally think that between the parties, not the people that's up on the top, but between the parties, either Republican Party or the Democrat Party, they have failed the American people.
Amen. I'm on your side. I agree with you. And I was in the hospital back in March, and that's when there's all this political stuff was coming on. And I told a woman in there, I said, "It's Biden and Trump. It's going to end up to be Biden and Trump." And I said, both of them don't need it. Both of them
Are unworthy of the American
and you know
vote.
What? She agreed with me, and she said, I don't usually let.
But what can you do? I mean, the party has already established themselves. They're not going to break away and just let it any Tom, Dick, and Harry come in there. And they made it look, which was nothing but a paper tiger with that guy that was associated with JFK's assassination. I guess he was a nephew or something like that was kind of running as a third party.
Yeah, JFK, but
he was
running as an independent.
As an independent, but I guarantee you,
I think he's still running, but
he
nobody
is.
hears from him.
He is.
But nobody hears about him.
You know why? Because he ain't got the big money. He ain't got the sponsorship. He can't get on every news channel that's out there. That's why.
That's it. I agree with you. I mean, if they put common person in control, it'd be a whole bunch different. But they want to control everybody that's in the White House.
You know what really ticks me off? We was talking about the Civil War a while ago, back in the day. You know, one of the biggest reasons why the South got upset during the Civil War, it wasn't just that the North wanted to tell the South what to do or what not to do. It was the North had already marketed slavery for years. Pretending all that stuff going on up there with all them factories and stuff. And all of a sudden, you're going to jerk the biscuit out of the Southern people's mouth and say, well, we done it, but you ain't going to be allowed to do it. In other words, we're going to make slavery.
It's good for me, but it's not for you.
Right. And basically, that's whenever I think a lot of eyebrows got raised pertaining to the Southerner people and said, do what? They done got rich up there in the North. Because you know as well as I do, there was probably 3 times, maybe 4 times more slaves up north than they thought about down south. And the only reason why that a lot of them rich people would come down south, it was called carpetbaggers. That way they could take advantage of the cheap labor down here.
Yeah.
They was getting rich off the sweat and tears and blood off of the Southern people. Now all of a sudden you go tell the Southern people that he can't have slaves. That's like putting a biscuit in somebody's mouth and then all of a sudden jerking it out and saying, oh, wait a minute, you can't have that.
That's why,
you can't have that biscuit.
When they kill a hog or something, the whites would get all the good meat and they'd give the chitlins and the heart. And
there's no doubt. I think slavery is wrong for any group, for any country, for any culture of people. I think slavery is wrong.
In other countries.
But in another way, aren't we all kind of slaves to society in one
Now, you
way
gotta
or
work
another?
your ass off to make a living, make a bill.
I mean, you really don't never own your home. I mean, you may say that you own it.
Because you won a lottery and paid for it.
Well, what I'm saying is, even though you may have it paid for, you still got to pay taxes on it every year.
Amen. I understand. Pay taxes and then you
So
gotta
the way that they
upgrade.
got this system set up, you really don't never own nothing, do you? It's the system that's corrupt, brother. It don't matter if it's a Republican, and it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat.
can't go
It's
off
the
of
system that is broken, and until they're willing to go in and remodify the system. But what I was going to tell you a while ago, okay, the North come down here and they told the Southerners how the cow was going to eat the cabbage, right? And the Southerners gave in because they basically were broke at that point in time. I mean, that was like the worst bloodshed that American people's ever seen, and it was horrifying because you had fathers fighting sons, sons fighting fathers. I mean, it was bad. But they said, okay, we're gonna build this State of the Union. You know, I pledge allegiance to the American flag. Da da da. Ba 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 ba. Basically, where the Union would run the whole show. Well, now look at where we're at today, being $35 trillion in debt, all the drugs, all the guns, all the problems in America. You tend to wonder, did the Union really succeed in looking at where we are now versus the Confederacy?
You know,
And I done something purposely. And you may think I'm an idiot for doing it, but my brother died in 2017 because of a bunch of chaotic stuff that was going on in Northwest Tennessee. They basically worried him to death. Don't tell me that nerves won't worry you to death, because they will. A person could put enough pressure on somebody to actually
have a heart attack.
Have a heart attack, or drive them crazy, or basically just drive them to the point that they don't realize what they're doing. But whenever my brother died, I put on the back of his tombstone and mine, and set both tombstones together on the same pallet. And usually brothers don't do that, or sisters don't do that. Yeah. Usually it's only mother, father, and the kids. But I mean, I have seen a few of them that did spread out and put them all in the same column pertaining to your headstone. But I put on the back of the headstone the dream catcher, because we come from the same mother, same father, and we both have Cherokee in us, right?
Yeah.
But on the side, inside the circle, and you got to really look at it very, very closely to realize it, Sons of Confederacy, but I put Sons of Federal Confederacy. And the thing about it is, the Confederates never was federal. But they probably should have been, based upon now. Look at what the daggum Union has showed their ass towards being. This country is no longer a godly country.
See, my grandma.
You have to admit that this country right now has just turned upside down whenever it comes to law and order.
Oh, I know it.
I mean, hell, far we can't even go to some sort of activity without taking a chance on somebody shooting and killing somebody, or seeing an outbreak.
Go to a football game or race, and before you get there, your car's checked, you checked, and everything.
This past weekend before last, on 4th of July weekend, there was over 100 noted people engaged in gun violence up in Chicago, and 30-something of them was dead.
I know, one day. I know it.
Just like Baghdad. Now you're telling me that the State of the Union is doing their job? Once more, the State of the Union wanted to come down to the South and tell the South how the cow was going to eat the cabbage. Now we see how the cow's eating the cabbage, don't we?
But you know, in Chicago, like they said, gangs. I was in Chicago.
Gangs is everywhere, buddy.
20-something people, one person. Only reason why me, I was 4 stories high watching them on a car lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got the hell out of Chicago. Because that could have been me if I was down there.
Oh, you know it. Being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, if you witness something, that can cost you your life.
Yeah.
If you see a murder or something going on, and you don't duck down and act like you didn't see it, and the next thing you know, they spot you over there looking at it, they'll come after you.
You're next in line.
You're a witness. You're next in line. This world has become evil, And this country, as far as I'm concerned, the politicians, regardless whether it's Democrat or Republican, have failed the American people. Now, granted, whenever it comes to choosing between the lesser of the two evils, because both parties are part of the system, and me and you, we're not going to go out here and create a brand new rich party,
You can't afford it.
Well, right, and they know that, So in essence, it really don't matter who you put in power, who you gonna put on the mantle to be looked at, regardless whether it's a Republican or Democrat. Ultimately, whenever it's all said and done with, it's still going to be the 1%ers that's going to be in power. That's going to basically control the rest of the 99%ers. I don't give a shit. You can put whatever name you want to on them: Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, and it's still going to be the wealthy that's going to control the unfortunate, the weak.
That's what
the weak.
Like when Hillary Clinton wanted Donald Trump to show his taxes when they were running for president.
Right.
He said, "Why should I do that?" She said, "You ain't paid no taxes." He said, "Well, I ain't got to." He said, "I tell you what, you get all them people that you got on your side to pay taxes, I'll pay taxes too. But as of right now, I'm by law legally losing money." That's why, look here, I've had a woman that worked at a dollar store. I know this woman that worked at a dollar store, and her store was financially supposed to lose money at the dollar store because they made so much money at other stores. They had to have a loss at one store to make up for the other ones.
Well, that's kind of like what they're doing right now with the hospitals, with the insurance.
Yeah.
A lot of those hospitals, they'll overcharge, depending upon if you got decent insurance or not. They'll overcharge that person because they know that they can get the money from that insurance company, while they'll take a hit on somebody else that don't have proper insurance or may not have no insurance.
See, I had a heart spell.
So that's the way they're surviving right now.
In February, I had a heart spell, and they put me in the hospital. But basically, when they sent me home to the hospital in February the 18th or 17th, they told me to make my funeral arrangements. They said, "Ain't nothing we can do for you. You died."
And you didn't have proper insurance, so ain't nobody going to spend a whole lot of money.
I didn't have
Ain't nobody going to spend no time and no money on you, so just go home and die a dignified death.
3 weeks ago, I got insurance. 3 weeks ago.
Good for you.
I've been to hospital. Well, I've been to the doctor. Since I had my insurance, I went to two.
Now they'll at least look at you. Now they'll at least look at you.
And one day I went to
without pushing you out in the hallway. So you know what that tells me? The hypocritical oath that doctors swear by before they actually become a doctor, that we will tend to the needy and the disheartened. It don't matter if they got money. It don't matter if they're going to pay us in chickens. It don't matter if they're going to pay us with eggs or insurance. They just as well take that hypocritical oath and throw that damn thing in the center of the damn ocean somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't worth nothing.
First time I went and got my my blood pressure medicine. My blood pressure medicine was $64 a month. I had no insurance. Well, I told them, I said, I ain't got no insurance. But the government has got where if you ain't got no insurance, they will cover so much. My blood pressure medicine went from 60 to 3 because I didn't have no insurance in the state of Tennessee. And they kept sending me forms. I never filled them out.
It's like indigent. Ain't that what they call it? Whenever you go to jail and you don't have no money, that the state will actually give you, what is it, something like $3 worth of stamps a week, and it's called indigent, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's that, but
it's similar. It's similar.
What cost me $3, they were charging 60. And it's the government, the government.
It's a scam. That's what I'm saying. It's all upside down. But yet now you can live in Canada or France or some of these other countries and have all the health care insurance you want.
Yeah, then they give you free surgery, free everything.
Yeah.
Here, you screwed.
I think it's become inhumane. Matter of fact, I'll go a bit further than saying it. I think it's inhumane. I think it's become evil. A matter of fact, I know it has, because last year I almost drowned it in the Tennessee River down around Pickwick. I mean, literally, almost drowned it.
About 6, 7. My son's been in prison guard it'll be 5 years. So he was in Tullahoma when he drowned. He was with a school that went fish tournament.
He wasn't the one that went through that dam, was he?
That was my cousin.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There was 2 of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2 of them and the man. The boy's daddy carried him down there, but he was one of them. He went drowned, and they didn't find him for 10 days. And you know what? He was stuck on a gate lock at the bottom of fucking where the gates shut.
Yeah.
They got them. He was stuck there, and they found the other two on down, but they found him. When they found him, they shut the gate, and he come up.
I'll be darned.
But that
And that was your cousin?
it was my cousin's son.
Your cousin's son.
Yeah.
So that kind of hit kind of close
Oh, yeah.
close to home,
Hey,
didn't it?
When he had the funeral, they had to have it in the school gym. So many people showed up.
Really?
I mean, it was like
Because they had
100
because they had like a week of rescue services looking for them, right? Looking for them.
It's no lie. My cousin, when they found out he was missing, they were 40-something people from O'Brien County. Boats, equipment, fire departments, and everything.
Volunteers.
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 Drove all the way down there.
And that says a lot. That says a lot about the people here in Tennessee. But what I was going to say a while ago is that I got blessed, not lucky. I don't believe in luck. There was a family going down Tennessee River, 90-0. This was on Memorial Holiday last year. Brand new 3-slalom pontoon boat with a big motor on it, like a 250 horse motor on it. And just so happens one of them looked over and seen where our boat had almost capsized, because we was on a pontoon boat, and the rope went from underneath the boat and got wrapped around the freaking prop, and all of a sudden the motor turned to the side, and we had 3 mental retarded children on there. The other guy, the owner of the boat, could not swim a lick, and 2 people was over 400 pounds, and at that time I was about 300 and something pounds. I've lost a little bit of weight since then. I'm only 300 pounds now, but still, that's heavy. But the boat almost capsized. So I bailed, and in bailing, I had the life preserver in my hand, but it got snagged on a freaking fishing pole line. Well, whenever I went down, we got caught up in an eddy, a swell.
Yeah.
And whenever I went down, I didn't just go down 6 or 7 foot. I went down, down, down. I kept going down to about 15 foot. And once I got down that low, I realized I'm in trouble. So it took every ounce of energy for me to get back up, to fight my way back out of that. And then as soon as I did, I got back up. I realized I don't have no life preserver, and now I'm in trouble because all them freaking boats going up and down through there, doing about 70 miles an hour, was kicking up waves probably 4, 5, 6 foot high. And every time I'd try to take a breath, I'd take a breath sometimes with air, and sometimes I'd take a breath with nothing but water. So I was weakening with me being overweight, diabetic too. The age that I am, I done already used up all that energy, and I was at the point of fixing to give up, just absolutely giving up, till finally I heard somebody. It was like something come across the water, and all of a sudden the water just got just as still, and I heard a voice. We're over here, catch the rope. And somebody going down that river doing 90-0 caught and seen that we was in trouble and turned around and come back and rescued me. This is my point that I'm making. It took every ounce of energy for me to grab the rope. It took every ounce of energy for me to get to the boat. It took every ounce of energy for me to even get up the ladder to get rescued. While I was being rescued, of course, one of the women said, "Sir, I don't mind to be nosy, but we're going to have to get your billfold out of your pocket to make sure we know who you are." I said, "That's no problem. Get my billfold." And she started talking to me. She said, "I'm a registered nurse." She said, "I've been a registered nurse for 35 years in the Children Le Bonheur Hospital down at Memphis." She said, my husband and me is fixing to move here to Pickwick, because they was living originally somewhere down in Hornwall, Mississippi or something like that. She said that we was fixing to move, and I'm fixing to resign my job. And I looked at her and said, "Ma'am, why in the world would you want to do that?" I said, "You're bound to be making probably $50 an hour or more being a registered nurse down around all them children." She looked at me, she said, "Because I didn't sign up for this. I'm getting tired of seeing people being pushed out in the hallway because they didn't have proper insurance or they wasn't a proper person, and telling them to go home and die an elegant death." She said, "I'm tired of it." She said, "That's not what I got hooked up in the medical industry for." She said, "And because of it, I'm getting out of it."
Oh, you meet nice people in the hospital. When I was in the hospital,
Yes, sir. You meet some good people in the hospital. Yes.
I couldn't ask for.
They would give you the shirt off their back if they thought that that's what you needed to save your life.
Yeah, I mean,
But there's also a lot of them in there. Those big administrations,
that one doctor died for
the uppity up people, the money people.
Yeah, they're in there for. But look here, when I I wasn't had.
We're just a statistic to them, and it don't matter if you're a child, it don't matter if you're elderly, it don't matter who you are. If you don't have proper insurance, they're fixing to push you out to the hallway.
Yep. Like they put me on a medication. 2 of them was $1,400 for both of them, 1 month, and me no insurance.
It's
I went to a
sad.
place in Jackson, and this woman, she was doing paperwork. She says, "You telling me the only reason you ain't taking this medicine is cause money?" I said, "Yeah, I ain't got the money to pay for it." She said, "Let me see what I can do." And she gave me a month's supply of medicine at the hospital. You know, at the doctor. She said,
And she probably broke regulations by doing that. She was
Well,
probably
she did,
risking
really.
her job by
She
doing
said-
that.
She was telling me about her daughter had a wreck, and she was telling me about how they treated her, and she said, I just can't stand it. But I went to the hospital, and I had my heart shot because it was Mayfield. They brought it back to rhythm,
Yeah.
and since then, Lord help me, I've been doing good. But that when they had me in recovery, I was there with a guy that, you know, in recovery they got somebody watching you, make sure you come to, and you got to be there like 25 minutes before they release you. Well, this guy was watching me and he was talking. He said, I started here in 1969 working. He says, I bought my house in Jackson in 1969. He said, I give $85,000 for it. He said, I've had it paid off for like 22 years now. His house is worth $250,000 right now.
Right.
He said, I'm not, he said, when I retire, he said, I'll probably sell it, but he said, I'll go somewhere else. But he said, in the next 2 to 3 years, I'm going to see the funeral, the cremation will be done by the hospitals because there's so much money in it. Hospitals got the technology and the resources to cremate. And he said,
All you got to have is a burner and be licensed to do
the
it.
next 2 years,
Put you in
there's
that
so much money
burner in
cremation
there.
that the hospital can do for $1,000 where funeral home does it for $3,000. And it's so much money, and the hospital they ain't got $25 in gas.
You know, there's a problem with all the baby boomers right now, stepping up to the plate to retiring with the Social Security Administration going broke. I don't forgot now how many trillions of dollars that they're in the red right now because of all the baby boomers.
See, like I said, I had a heart failure in February.
But what I'm saying is, it is so spread abroad that if the government don't do something, just like all the deaths.
They're gonna be broke.
What are you gonna do? You just gonna let people die and just leave them sitting on the freaking side of the freaking road somewhere?
Martial law will come in and people have their own guns and they go back like it used to be. You have to go out and hunt food.
There ain't enough stuff out the game out there to freaking hunt no more.
I know it.
And most of the people don't even know how to put a seed in the ground and grow garden. I'm telling you, if this thing was to ever collapse, we would be in big trouble.
They're going to before it's over.
You know, they had a data breach 2 days ago that was one of the biggest data breaches on the planet.
You went AT&T
Cost
last week.
billions of dollars, just like that. Shut down airlines all over the freaking planet.
I remember that, 'cause Chicago had.
This just happened.
Yeah, I seen it on.
This just happened.
People in Chicago.
That's how close we are to sudden destruction. You hear me? Sudden destruction. We're that close of seeing rioting breaking out on the streets and people going into the grocery stores and making themselves at home. Because once this system ever shuts down, it's going to be chaos.
I see it.
It's going to be chaos.
I had a friend. He was always a true believer in. I got my guns, and when it goes down, I will be here to take you. He said, "I'll shoot somebody comes in my yard."
Well, he's just one of them that wants to go out fighting, and he'll probably take
he's
2 or
gone
3.
now,
But he
he was always the one he would squeeze a nickel till it squealed.
yeah.
I mean, it just.
Well, I'm the same way now whenever it comes to that, because I ain't never had a group of people that supported me as far as sponsoring me. And I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on the ministry towards getting my message out there. And even to this day, I still don't have what you would call a true Joe Osteen following.
My daddy was a Baptist preacher. But
So you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
mean,
You got to have people that support you.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you may have good words, but
I
you ain't gonna be really no more effective than you are if you get out there and start preaching to a tree. Now since the internet has spread abroad and now people can basically get online with social media, you can be a little bit effective out there with your social media exposure, depending upon if people like you and they'll listen to you.
Like I was going to say a while ago, when I had my heart spell, the doctor sent me home to die. But I went and signed up for disability. This is in February. March, about April, I heard from the Social Security office, they said that I was approved for disability. You know when I get my first check? September the 3rd. I've been without money since February. And I had to go 5 months without
A check without a dollar. And in the meantime, they shut down your electric, your car payments due, your insurance is due, you got to shut down your phone, all the above.
5 months, I ain't got.
During that 5 months can absolutely ruin an individual to the point that now they become homeless.
Yeah, September the 3rd, they sent me a paper.
In other words, you can go from one day of having a wife and kids and a dog and a swing set in a house, and within 3 months, 90 days basically, is whenever they make a move towards basically evicting you and getting you out of all that stuff and basically putting your stuff out on the road saying, sayonara, my friend.
Like I said, it's going to take my first.
So is that not cruel? Is that not cruel to do your citizens that way? It's evil. It's evil.
Back a month. They hold you back. August is when it kick in.
It's evil. But it's evil. You hear what I'm saying? It's evil.
Oh, I know it. And it's the government.
Yeah. That's our government that's supposed to be taking care of its citizens. Come on, man. You're taking care of us, and you can't even protect yourself.
All my life, I worked that's why, like I said, I'm gonna draw like $1,600.
Well, they've mishandled our funds because we was lied to on the front end, and they promised that, you know what, if you'll work all your life, if you'll be loyal to a company, the company will be loyal to you, and at the end of your lifespan, you can have everything paid off, have a little bit of money, and you can sit back in your rocking chair and enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's a lie.
That's a lie.
It's all, they tell you nothing.
If you was really stable in being able to make good money, you may have gotten lucky towards doing that. But the majority of the people, even though they're elderly,
they live from week to week, check to check.
That's right.
That's the way I did. I lived.
That's right. That's right.
If I put $25, $30 a week back, I was happy.
And you know what would offset them? A motor blowing up, slipping and falling and breaking a hip,
yeah,
or maybe a limb falling on their house, and now they can't make their deductible. That would literally almost put them immediately in the red. And if they wasn't smart enough to work their way out of that, they would basically be doomed. And you're calling that?
That's 85% of America right now.
And you're calling that a good established system? No.
My son, like I said a while ago, he works at the prison. He's been there. In January, it'll be 5 years, which, I mean, he's a
warden, not a warden, but a CO, correctional officer.
Yeah, he's a correctional officer, but right now he's a sergeant.
Okay.
He went from corporal to sergeant, and they're training to be a lieutenant, but he said he didn't want to move up the ladder because of too much responsibility. He said the higher you go, the more money you make, but the more responsibility. You got to make sure somebody's there to.
Well, they caught that warden down there about 2 years ago that was involved in bringing all that meth and stuff in there. He wound up losing his freaking job.
He needed it.
He should have went to jail.
Yeah, he should have been behind the bars with the rest of them.
He should have been barred with the rest of them.
But my son, he's been working there for, like I said, for 5 years almost.
I wonder how many of those prison systems that the wardens and the people associated with the jail itself are involved in stuff like that. Just about all of them.
I don't know, but
just about all of them.
My son's done found.
Because I've been told you can get just as many drugs, if not more, once you get in jail than you can out here on the streets.
It's a different. My son said, you know, he said it's like they don't want you to know this, but prison over there last year, it had like 200 overdoses for the whole year.
That people died?
Well, they some of them come back with Narcan, but over 200.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the jail system itself.
In the prison over here.
In the prison system. Less than what? 10 miles away? 15?
Yeah, it's about 10 miles.
Good God. So if that's going on in this prison, don't you think it's going on in all of them?
Everyone.
Yeah. See, that's something that the media don't talk about.
See,
the media don't talk about that.
I got a cousin who got caught with meth, and it's like his third offense or fourth offense, and he's in prison right now. He told me he makes more money in prison scamming than he made outside prison.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it, because in there it's another completely different world. And did you know a lot of those guys have been in prison so many years that they can't survive out here in the real world.
That's it. You got that?
They
You
can't
got that
survive
right.
out here in the real world. Besides that, the opportunities have fallen to the point that unless you do got a very high skill, or you got a lot of education, odds of you get going from one job to another right now, with the jobs being as scarce as what they are, it's slim to none. It's slim to none.
I'm telling you. Well, I gotta get these dogs to the house.
Man, it's been good talking
Hey,
to
my
you.
name is Philip.
I hope everything works out for you, buddy. I really do. I hope it works out for you.
Hey.
Good luck to all of us. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because I know there ain't no such thing as luck. I'm a hard shell Baptist, basically by
My
by,
daddy.
by my people. They was primitive Baptists, which they believe what is to be will be, and if it's not meant to be, it won't be. In other words,
Lord's got a
in other words,
reason for
in other words, since I didn't die,
You got another reason to be here.
I got another reason to be here. Just like Donald Trump. Since Donald Trump did not die of that assassin's bullet, maybe he does got a call, and maybe he does have a purpose of being here.
Hey,
And that's what a lot of people gonna look at come election. You know it.
yeah.
I guarantee you they will.
Every day you come up with two decisions. You can do this or do this. And every time you make a decision, it's a different path.
That's right.
I mean,
And-
my daddy used to preach one time, and I remember in one sermon he said, that people was complaining about bills and stuff, and he said, look here, he said, he looked around and he said, I know everybody in this church. He said, y'all might think you've got it bad. He said, but I'm going to guarantee you, if you look around, you'll always find somebody off.
Man, I seen something this morning over there in Hamas, over in the Middle East, of them children starving to death and getting arms and legs blowed off, and they can't even bring in medication because there ain't no way to feed them and stuff. You talk about a horrible, horrible situation.
Oh, I know it. But
That's
he
a
always say,
horrible
he said,
situation.
count your blessings. You got the money to pay the bills.
Absolutely.
I mean, or you got, but he said, how'd you like to be that last one? Somewhere down the line, it's got to quit. But he said, count your blessings if you are able and capable of paying what. Thank the good Lord.
So is your daddy already done passed on now?
He passed on.
Did he preach his whole life basically?
Yeah, basically he did.
Okay. Was he a decent preacher? Baptist preacher? Methodist preacher?
He was a preacher. Hell, we had more preaching at the house on
Right.
I mean,
People would congregate together and they'd want to know the Word of God. They'd want to know how to interpret the Bible.
Yeah, that's it. I tell you what, this is no lie. 5 people read the same chapter in the Bible. 3 of them have a different opinion than 2.
I know.
I mean, they all decide. It's different. I mean, like I can read a chapter in the Bible and you read a chapter, and I can explain it to you, and you think a different way than I thought.
Do you know why?
It's made that way.
Well,
People got their own.
it is and it ain't. If the recipient that's accepting the message properly, if they're truly born again, more than likely all of them are going to receive the same message out of the same verse. But it goes back to, if you got 5 people standing on a street corner somewhere and all 5 of them witness an automobile accident, and you go back 15 minutes later and you ask them, each one of them in detail, what did you see? Did you see her hit him first? Did you see the brakes squall? Did she swerve to the right or to the left? And all 5 of them will have a different opinion about the same accident. That's the reason why you got Mark, Luke, Matthew, and John.
Yeah.
You got 4 different books that, of course, Luke was supposed to have been the smartest because he was like a doctor or something. But you got 4 different opinions that's talking about the same thing, and they'll angle their opinion about it a little bit different on each one of them. Think about it.
But they all come. Yeah. See,
They're talking about the same thing. They're talking about the Lord Jesus Christ, but they talk about it in a different opinion or a different format.
Yeah, my aunt had a Bible, and in the Bible, it had a verse, and then beside it, in the middle, it had more verses that said basically the same thing as that verse, but in different books.
That's the reason why you need a good dating Bible. You need a good teaching Bible. That way you can look over in the column over there, and it'll break it down. It'll tell you exactly what that means. Sure
She
will.
had one of them books.
Man, good talking to you,
Hey,
okay?
nice talking to you. Nice meeting you, bub.
You too,
You
man.
have a safe trip home.
Hey, you too. I can go through Yorkville from here
Yeah.
whenever I get ready to go home, going to Kenton,
Yeah.
and I can basically be at home in like 35, 40 minutes.
I used to go to Trenton, but I go through Yorkville to get there. Mason Hall,
Yeah,
Yorkville.
yeah, yeah.
Get in.
Take care of yourself.
All right, you take care, bub.